All right, back in the basement again today. I want to talk about this combo rack from RX'D. I've had it for a couple of weeks. I want to share some things I like about it and some things I don't like about it. So let's start off with the basics. Number one, the biggest thing I like about this is the price point, $1,300 before shipping. Now, $1,300 is a lot of money. However, when you take a look in the context of combo racks on the market, a majority of them are actually going to be double that price. So you're not going to get into an Eleiko, an ER rack, a Rogue rack, a Ghost rack, a Texas Strength Systems rack. All of those are going to cost you well over $3,000, in some cases significantly more than that. So having a combo come in around $1,300 is a nice feature. Now that puts it into the budget-friendly options for combos. Some other ones you might be familiar with are the Strong Arm Sport one, which retails for around $1,000 to $1,100. And also there's a Titan Fitness model one, which I don't actually believe is for sale right now, but also retailed for around $1,100. Typically, when you're looking at these budget-friendly combo racks, you're sacrificing a lot, namely in the quality. So that leads me to the second thing that I really like about this combo, and that is the build quality overall. This thing is super sturdy. It's made from 7 and 11 gauge steel. It's heavy, weighing in around 350 pounds. You take a look at the frame design here, and it has some nice things on it. It has feet that kind of spread or angle out. So again, really going to add to that stability. When you walk out a squat, you have the room to do so because you're not confined to a small space. It includes things like face savers, which some actually don't include, surprisingly enough. It has UHMW everywhere, from the face savers to the backing plates here. Your barbell will be protected. The only caveat with that is there's no actual UHMW on the inside of these cups. So if you're using a really nice bar, just be expected that if you're coming on to the inside of these lips, that can get scratched up. That's an easy fix with some UHMW tape, but that is an area for improvement where RX'D can definitely get better about that. Has some really heavy duty spotter platforms here, which are nice because that's going to lead me to the third thing I really like about this bench and combo rack is the bench itself. So this bench is extremely beefy and it goes in line well with the rest of this rack. This thing weighs a lot. It's made from 1-inch bolts and hardware, so you know it's going to be beefy. But unlike some of these other big combo racks that are beefy and really stable, what happens are the spotter platforms are actually built into the bench itself, which makes them kind of a little bit unwieldy. So that's a common complaint when it comes to like the Rogue benches or the heavy duty Ghost benches as well. In this case, these spotter platforms are actually independent of everything. So they're modular, meaning you can take off one, you wouldn't want to, but you can take off both obviously and move them, and they're not connected to the bench and they're not connected to the frame. So if you're lifting at home and you don't have anyone to train with, which a lot of us at home don't have, you could actually never put these on here if you wanted and be all the better for it. So the fact that these are removable are nice, but that leads you to have an actual dedicated flat bench that is big, beefy, and heavy duty that you could use as a standalone bench. And a lot of times with combo rack benches, you can't do that because they're just not built for it. In this case, literally, they could sell this, and they probably do, as a standalone. Now, the way this connects is also pretty easy. Just a couple of slots on the back of the frame that the bench will go right into. It has wheels, it has kickstand, so you can wheel it out. Before I got this bench in and I saw it on the actual site itself, I thought those things might get in the way while in use. Has not yet been the case. So the fact that you can get this up and out of the way quite easily and repurpose it in other parts of your gym, I think is a really big selling point for me. So overall, really nice price point, but despite the lower price point, you're getting a heavy duty, quality feeling combo rack, and you're getting a bench that doubles as a lot of other things in there. So a lot to like about this for the price point given, but it's not perfect. There are some things that I don't like, and I'm actually going to start with the bench itself. So I just got done telling you I like the bench. There are some things I don't like, namely the pad itself. So it's a high density pad. It looks like a fat pad, although it's standard width for competition, but it's about 4 inches thick. However, it does not feel like a pad. It feels really, really hard. Now, personally speaking, I like a little bit of a softer pad, or a pad that has some give into it. So that way when I'm setting my shoulders and my scaps and kind of tucking back and trying to get into position, I feel like I can dig in and be solidified on the bench. Because this thing is so firm, it's really not the case. It reminds me of the Rogue Adjustable 2.0 that I had back in the day, which was like benching on a board almost. Now, the upswing to this is that the actual upholstery on it is pretty grippy, But again, the fact that you can't really dig in leads the upholstery to move some where the bench really doesn't do it. So like, I wish this had a different pad, because to me, that's the biggest complaint I have with this thing. Another complaint that I have with this thing is the secure pins on it. So as you'll note, and you'll see in some of the B-roll, there are a lot of secure pins. In fact, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 total pins that are used to secure this down. Now, these do have their place, right? Because when I secure things down, like the spotter arms here, the face savers, and I tighten these things, it doesn't move. Again, it adds to the stability, which is one of the biggest selling points in my opinion. But there are some interesting ones on here. Like for instance, on the back of these uprights, there is a secure pin. And I'm the type of person that forget that I secure it. So first of all, let me show you what happens when they're secured and you try to lift the arm up. It goes really slow. And if you don't recall that there's a pin securing it or a screw in, you're going to continue to try to work this and think something is broken. It's not broken. You're just an idiot like me. Or I won't put that juju on you. I'm an idiot. I go, oh shit, I forgot there's a secure pin here. So what do I have to do? I have to come in and unscrew it, and it goes back and then can be moved very, very easily. Now the problem is again, I forget that these are secured, and what ends up happening is I try to move them, it gets stuck, it gets slow, and it can end up actually scratching this upright. And to be honest, when they're not secured, like they are right now, there's not a ton of play here. I don't think those are really necessary there. Now again, in a home gym, when it's probably gonna be you, maybe another person here or there, you could probably leave these in and not really have a problem. But if these were ever used in a meet scenario or in a commercial type gym, having to unscrew these after every lifter or every time you move this is going to be annoying, and no one's going to really want to do it. So again, these are a negative. Now there are some down here as well. So one of the nice things about this rack, as I already mentioned, is it's budget, but it's heavy duty. So it has a lot of nicer features that the more expensive racks have. One of which being is that you can put these uprights in, but in order to do so, you have to unscrew these 3 secure pins per side, so 6 in total. You would then lift up this bracket and shift this over, and that gives you a 5-degree on the inside upright. So this is really simple to do, right? Nice and easy, in and out. But again, dealing with secure pins all the time, in order to do this, does get to be a little bit of a hassle. And one of the things that I've noticed is even though that these things are secure, they're tight, this upright in particular still has the tendency to move a little bit. So as I'm doing some sets of squats, I'll notice that this is no longer completely straight or vertical. It starts to bend in a little bit. I'll pull it back and I'll go to retighten these only to find out that they're already tight as is. So the secure pins themselves. The last little negative about this that I will say is, again, even though there's a lot of good value here for $1,300, there are some little things that could be fixed to make this even nicer. So like, for example, the lever arms themselves, if you take a look here at the way they're constructed, they have these kind of square plastic caps on the end of the handles, which I find sometimes get caught on stuff like my shorts or my shirt as I'm adjusting this. There's also plastic handles here. They just feel kind of cheap. And again, this is a budget-friendly rack, but I think that could be easily addressed just to make them a little bit nicer. You'll find on some things like the cups themselves, the inside of the cups does not have UHMW like I mentioned already. I think that would be an easy fix to do to make this even nicer. But overall, this is a really nice combo rack for $1,300. However, that being said, if you've seen some of my other videos on combo racks, it's hard for me to recommend this for a home gym as your only rack, meaning that most people, as I've already mentioned, train at home, and these things aren't safe for one people. They have face savers for bench, but squatting to me is a real kind of concern if you're lifting solo. Now in GetRX'd marketing materials for this, they say raise the face savers up when you squat. I still don't feel safe on here. So if I'm squatting heavy on this, someone who's been training for over 20 years, have lots of experience in failing and surviving, obviously, I still don't feel comfortable going heavy in something like this because number one, it might be easy to miss the face savers potentially during squats if I'm dumping it behind me based off of how I fail. Or in the instance where it's really heavy and maybe the bar crashes down towards the end of these face savers, even though this thing is really robust and stable, if I'm dropping 600 pounds off my back on these with some force, this thing could still flip and get damaged. So not only damage you, it could damage yourself. So not only damage the rack, damage yourself. So I just don't feel comfortable in that. So like I said, this could be a great addition to a gym if you're looking to add in some comp specific equipment without breaking that bank of the 3,000 to 4,000 to 5,000 to 6,000 or 7,000 if you're looking at a Leico or some custom solutions out there. Just still get a budget friendly piece of equipment that's not budget friendly when it comes to the actual quality wise of it. Now, GetRx is a brand that not many people associate with powerlifting, so I was really surprised to see this on their website, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to get it in and test it, especially given the price point. I will say it has exceeded my expectations. I was expecting it to feel like a $1,300 squat rack, similar to like the Strong Arm Sport one, which again is doable, but you understand why it's so cheap. It does have some minimal branding on it. There are some brackets here that have the GetRx logo, as well as on the face savers themselves. There are some laser cutouts. Those could be easily removed if you don't like them, or even customized yourself if you're looking to get a combo rack with a little bit of customization, but again, you don't want to break the bank. But overall, for $1,300, it's a pretty solid deal. Just note that shipping is not included in this, so you're going to be probably looking at like $1,600 to $1,700, which again, in context of other racks on the market, I think is generally good. But let me know what comments or questions or concerns you have about this combo rack from GetRx in the comment section below. In the meantime, as always, thanks for watching and stay big.